Hey everybody, I'm here with my friend Sheri, and we're going to have some fun. We're talking Atlanta real estate, we're talking USA real estate. Sheri, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it's a pleasure being here. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Yeah, let's go. For folks who don't know you yet, what tell us a little bit about your background. What made you decide to get into real estate? You've been super successful. We want to hear how you did it.
Sure. Kind of by accident, I'll be honest. I have always been passionate about real estate. It's just something I've enjoyed. But I wasn't involved in real estate. My background actually is originally in fitness. Pretty much as long as I know, I was in the fitness industry. And on accident, I was moving from, at the time, actually Atlanta to Phoenix, Arizona, and didn't want to sell my house because we really liked it here. So went to Home Depot, bought a for rent sign, stuck it in my yard, looked on the penny saver. We didn't have internet so much at that time, I think, and got a rent, put it in there, moved 2,000 miles away. And for 10 years, I had a tenant in there. Decided that worked out pretty cool. So at that point, really decided to actually focus in on, getting involved in real estate, and sort of the rest is history. So got into real estate as a investor, where I was doing some flips, some wholesales, got into that full time out in Orange County, California, flipped a bunch of properties out there. And then during the pandemic, as we everything changed, shifted our business and decided to move back out here to Atlanta. So I'm here in Atlanta and doing a little more flipping of houses as well as rentals, and kind of being diversified and doing a little of both.
What are the trends that you're noticing in Atlanta? I mean, I know it's a super huge city. It's almost like its own state. It's enormous, but it's so spread out. But what kind of trends are you noticing right now, and where is the opportunity for the savvy investor?
Yeah, you know what? It's a hot market. Atlanta is definitely a very hot market. It's very competitive right now. There's a lot of big hedge funds and companies coming in and buying up. We're getting like the Zillow instant offers and stuff. They're actually buying properties. So it's pretty competitive. I think anytime something goes on the market, it's sold usually within a day or two. It's not necessarily hours anymore, but within a couple of days, if you haven't, if your house isn't sold, then it's definitely not priced right. They're getting multiple offers, and most deals are still going over asking, or at least they're shortening up, no contingencies, waiving appraisal contingencies, things like that. So it's pretty competitive and pretty hot. It is starting to slow a little bit just in the last probably 2-3 weeks. It seems like things are sitting a little bit longer. But when I say a little bit longer, I'm saying an extra day or so.
Yeah,
it's still pretty phenomenal out here right now.
Yeah. So where does that leave the discounted home buyer? I mean, the business is predicated on making, discounted offers for people who need to get, all cash quickly, and they know they're taking a discount because of that. And they know that if they sold their house on the MLS, the market in most markets wouldn't absorb that kind of inventory, but that's not the case right now.
Right.
Who in their right mind would ever buy who would ever take an investor deep discounted cash offer? I mean, am I missing something?
Well, it is a little harder for investors right now, because again, yes, people could put that on the market, and generally what maybe wouldn't have sold before is being sold. We get a lot of first-time home buyers actually entering into the market, buying fixer-uppers. They all seen HGTV, and I think feel like it's, super easy and buying something and fixing it up. However, there's a lot of people still out there right now that don't want to mess with, especially with the pandemic, it's not over. So you've got people that don't want people coming into their homes. They don't want to have to keep their homes, tidy for, even if it's only a weekend. Right. They don't want to have to leave their home. We also have a lot of people still that, even though right now there's kind of the moratorium on, mortgages and foreclosures and
Right.
evictions, you still have those scenarios where people know that, they're maybe in over their head and need to get out and want to get out now, sooner rather than later, So there are still those opportunities. You just got to be quick to find them, and you definitely have to find them off market and be able to show them that you do still have their best interests sort of in mind, that you want it to be a win-win. You want to help them through their scenario,
Right.
but also, it's got to make sense for us too, right?
So who's the ideal person that you work with if they're listening to this? Location, needs, like who's just the ideal person that you can help the best?
Right now, because I am focusing a little bit more on like buy and hold type properties, I'm doing some student housing, and I'm also doing some shared housing where it's just, maybe veterans that are needing a place to stay that they can afford. So it's a little bit better price, as well as Airbnbs, so I'm looking for houses kind of anywhere within I'd say within the perimeter or just outside in Metro Atlanta. And, I'm looking for something that would make sense as a rental. And I'm sorry, I think totally there was a second part of your question. But, I'm looking for properties that generally have been inherited, and or a lot of times I work with seniors. So there's a lot of people who have been in their house for 30 or 40 years, and they are, maybe it's just too much of a house. Maybe they've lost a spouse and they can't maintain the property. A lot of times they're, senior women who their spouse has passed away and they used to, take care of the maintenance of the property, and it's becoming a little bit overwhelming. Or again, they just can't, maybe financially, it's just not making sense anymore. So those people, I'm able to help them with one, finding kind of where they're going to go, what their next situation is going to look like, and can give them complete peace of mind. That's going to be a seamless transaction. They can leave behind what they don't want. So especially someone who's been in their home for 30, 40. I had one guy over 50 years, he had lived in his home, and they just accumulate a lot of stuff, right? So I tell them focus on what they want to take and leave the rest to us. We can help with cleaning out the things they don't want to worry about, and just make it easy.
That's cool. Yeah, no, that is super valuable, especially if a relative passed away, and it's the adult children and they live in another city and they have to empty it out to sell it. And they don't want to do that, and they don't want any of that stuff. I've bought some houses like that too. And yeah, they didn't want to mess with any of that, and who can blame them? I mean, I probably, if I was in the same boat, I wouldn't either. So that really makes sense. Well, so
it's hard when you're out of state, right? You don't know the market too. So it's a little harder. Yeah.
Let's talk about your book. So, I mean, obviously, congrats on being, a published author. Not a lot of people do that in our space. What are your books about, and who and how do you get those in the hands of people?
I've got a couple books. So the one that I probably focus on the most is pertaining to seniors. It's Home to Home, and it's a senior's guide to the housing market and transitioning. So it walks them through the entire process of determining, it actually backs up even further to, do they have a plan in place when that time comes? So helping to plan the situation before it becomes urgent, right? Now I need to sell my house yesterday, not 2 years from now. So it walks them through creating that plan, and then what is going to be the best avenue for them for selling their home, whether that's to list it with an agent, whether it's to sell it to an investor. We kind of help navigate that water for them. So the book is a great educational piece for someone who, or even an adult child who is looking to, figure out what they need to do with the home. If they're moving mom or dad into assisted living, it just helps them navigate those waters and avoid some of the, big mistakes people make. So that's the first one. The other one is very similar, except it just doesn't, it's not specific to seniors, but it's for anyone who's looking to sell a house. And again, we kind of walk them through the difference between selling to an investor versus listing it with an agent, or maybe they should even keep it, so we kind of help them figure those questions out.
That's great. Yeah. Yeah, you're definitely leveling up, the bar and helping these people get just more educated so they don't make a mistake. Maybe they go with you, maybe they don't, but at least they know their options. And I think that's really cool that you lead that way. And, I know you've been in a lot of different programs, and we love to have you in ours, and you're an incredible ambassador, trusted expert. So if you're watching this, you're in Atlanta, or you have a loved one in Atlanta, I highly recommend that you reach out to Sheri. She's been doing this a long time. She knows what's going on. She can get you a copy of her book, and you can just read it, make your own decisions, call her, and it's just nice to have a real liaison, a real somebody to just kind of guide you through this process, especially with the seniors. But what about for private lenders? I mean, there's people right now, they're not so sure about the stock market. I don't know if it's going to go up, down, sideways. We don't ask those kind of questions on here, obviously, because nobody knows. But people are getting a little skittish, but they don't want to be a full-time real estate investor like you are. What do those folks do? What kind of options do they have to get involved in real estate? Is that even a possibility?
Yeah, no, that's great. And so I do also have the book on private lending. And so in that, I just definitely help people see the benefits that there are with lending, where you can be part of that HGTV. I kind of always go back to that. You can be part of that experience, but you're not out there having to bang the hammers and, go through the process. There's a lot of people that don't have the time to be able to, go out and flip a house. They don't maybe know how to find a house, right? And get their hands on, especially in this market. So as a private lender, I use any of the homes that I buy. I generally am working with someone just like you, Max, who maybe has some funds. Oftentimes, I'll say they're in their 401k or IRA. And instead of investing in the stock market, because that's very volatile, it might be sexy with these big numbers that they see, 20% increase. But actually over time at a steady, just a solid return that's guaranteed every single month, they're able to make returns that are strong and beat the market sometimes in some cases. So I borrow those funds, they actually have an opportunity to invest. And what I actually do is I'll send them pictures along the way, usually of the progress of the home, so they can see their dollars at work, but they're not out there having to do the work. They're just involved in the deal from, financing either the whole entire house, or maybe they're putting in a portion for the renovations, depending on how much money they have. And it's a great way. It's a very I'll say, it's a secure investment in that, they are tied to a piece of property. So, if something were to go wrong, they generally can get their funds back. So, or they can get a house.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, either way. Yeah, so it's definitely something to look into. So at the end, we're wrapping up. Just got another couple questions, but we'll make sure everybody gets a opportunity to get your contact info if they want to get a copy of the book. You can do that. So what has it been like, kind of, Mark, just talking business owner to business owner, and for the real estate investors that are listening too, what has it been like marketing with a book and versus just, what you had before, the other collateral? Like, can you think of any times or scenarios where it was kind of like an aha moment? You were like, man, like this is going really good, or it doesn't even help anything. Just 100% unscripted, your opinion. What has it been like just giving people your book?
Yeah, no, it definitely helps a lot with people understanding my expertise and, see me, I guess, more as an authority figure, because I'm not out there just trying to buy their house. I'm out there trying to educate them and keep them from, making mistakes that will cost them. Right. So being able to give somebody a book, it gives you a lot more credibility, right? A lot of times I'll have people that'll call in and maybe they're not ready to meet with me. That happens probably more often than not. They're calling in, maybe just wanting to see what we're about and what we do. And I'm able to get a book into their hands. And I actually have had many people call me back. As a matter of fact, I think one of the most recent sales I made, I had actually given a copy of my book to this seller. She wasn't quite ready yet. She put it aside. And when she came back, she found my book. She looked through my book and she called me and she said, yeah, I was looking for that book and I wanted to call you right away. So, and I was able to buy her house at that time. So it definitely, I think, it's something obviously they can keep. Generally, people aren't going to throw a big book away. You get a business card, it's easy to lose it. It gets lost in the shuffle. But having an actual book, and I've got a copy of one of mine here, having my book, it doesn't get lost as easily. So people are able to go back to it and use it as a resource and a reference to reach back out to me.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. It's not real complicated what we're doing here. I had a lady call me from a workshop that I spoke at over 2 years ago. And I was like, I don't remember her. And I was like, do you have my book? I don't remember. And she's like, yeah, I got it right here. How do you think I called you? I'm like, do you have my workbook? And she's like, right here. And I was just like, dude, I mean, can you imagine how many pieces of mail, yellow letters, postcards have come through her fingers in over 2 years? And so I'm glad that you're getting this thing.
I use it a lot also for workshops. I do a lot of networking for, I'm a part of a network group for people who touch seniors. So specifically, it's all different types of, placement agents and people like that. And I'm able to get my book into their hands and they can give it out to their residents or their clients. I'm actually sponsoring one of the events coming up in November. I'm going to sponsor that meeting. And so I'll be getting my books into the hands of a lot of those people, as well as actually being able to do webinars and things like that, where you can, get the book, in the hands of those people. And it was really helpful too, as well. When I had the book when I was back in Orange County a couple of years ago, and code enforcement, the supervisor there loved my book. And she was also someone who would hand it out to people when they met with me. And I had these people calling at a later time. So it's a great tool.
Yeah, because, you think about it, like city officials and stuff. I mean, most of them, they're not there for the money. They're trying to help people in their community. And I like how when I give people the book, and when you give people the book and people on our program, the local experts, it changes the narrative from sometimes real estate investors get a bad rap. And they, they're like, oh, low ball offers and, bandit sign people and stuff like that. And it's like, and I feel like it really changes the narrative. I've never met anybody who is just really passionate about helping kids or seniors. And people go, oh yeah, that person sucks. They're really scummy. Stay away from them. It's never happened. So it is kind of cool that, we can show people, an altruistic side to our personality, but also still, be very, professional, astute business owners and be growing our business. And but the people of the city can make or break your career in this industry. And so having those folks on your side, I think it's an undervalued asset.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
no, it's a great tool. I gotta tell you, it's very helpful.
I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm sure the people are giving it too. It sounds like they're enjoying it too. And that's the most important thing. So everybody wins. So if somebody wants to reach you as we're closing down, what's the best way they can do that?
Probably the easiest thing is via email. So my email it's Sheri at realresultsrealty.com. I'm sorry, realresultsrealtyinc.com. So it's Sheri, SHERI, spelled definitely a little different, and then results realty, and then INC for incorporation.com. Okay. And that's probably the best way, but I'm also open to having them give me a call. My number is 678-234-8890.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, can we have you back for an update? The market's changing and you've got your pulse on the market. So we want to hear more about what's happening. So let's have you back in a few months and get an update. Sound good?
That sounds great. I'd be happy to come back and join you anytime, Max.
Awesome. Sounds good. Well, thanks everybody. Enjoyed being with you today and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye-bye, everyone.
Take care. Bye. Thank you.